We are very pleased to have these distinguished guests with us today in the debate hall. On the right, Carl Jung, the founder of analytical psychology, an explorer of the collective unconscious and the role of symbols in human life. And on the left, Arthur Schopenhauer, a Polish philosopher with a pessimistic view of life and the world, who believed that desires and motives are the root of all human suffering. Hello, hello, hello. I'm Jefferson, and this is Psychology Class. So the idea is that during each program, we'll bring in two or more prominent psychologists or philosophers and explore a psychological problem that might be relevant to anyone of any age. In the meantime, we'll ask three powerful AIs to be our judges and help us with the scoring. So with this explanation, we will become familiar with the topic under discussion today. Charlotte, a 22-year-old girl from America, was like thousands of other young people. Beautiful face, a charming smile, and a spark of energy in her eyes. Yet behind that bright look, something was quietly eroding. She spent endless hours absorbed in her phone screen, scrolling through short reels one after another, like colorful sprinkles on ice cream. Sweet, dazzling, but empty of real substance. The more she watched, the less she could stay present. It had become difficult for her to sit through a 1-hour movie, flip through the pages of a book, or even hold a meaningful conversation with friends and family. Everything had to be short, fast, and eye-catching. Her world had turned into the very clips she scrolled through with a flick of her finger. Quick, endless, and yet hollow.
Pure evil. It's beautiful.
The scoring process is as follows. After each question, our selected artificial intelligences answer our questions based on two criteria: scientificity and therapeutic application, from 0 to 10. 1. Being scientific from the perspective of scientific psychology means that a theory or statement is testable, is replicable, is supported by empirical evidence and data, is unambiguous. Therapeutic application. That is, this theory or idea is useful in actual therapy, gives the therapist real insight, can be used in psychotherapy, helps the client manage their thoughts, and becomes more adaptable, calmer. Question 1. What is Charlotte's addiction and why did it happen?
She's a slave to endless cravings.
This addiction is her unconscious screaming out.
Charlotte has lost herself in endless reels and scrolling. She thinks she's choosing, but in reality, she's a prisoner of her own unending desires. Anything short and quick keeps pulling her in.
This behavior shows that part of her mind is suppressed or ignored. Her unconscious is shouting, "Pay attention to me," but she hasn't yet found the way to truly listen.
Question 2. Where does this dependency come from?
It's human nature, endless desire.
What is human nature or blind will? Schopenhauer believed that the foundation of the world is will, not reason or thought. This will is blind and has no higher goal or meaning. It is merely a blind force of survival and desire. Everything in nature, from stones and plants to human beings, are expressions of this blind will. In humans, it appears as endless urges, instincts, and desires. The result is that life is always tied to suffering, because our desires can never be fully satisfied.
The unconscious and hidden parts of the mind.
Charlotte wants a quick moment of pleasure to forget everyday pain. Technology only sets the stage, but it's her inner drive, her nature, that traps her.
This addiction comes from a mix of daily pressures, anxieties, and suppressed parts of her psyche. When she doesn't face these parts, her mind expresses itself through compulsive dependence.
Question 3. What are the effects and consequences?
Endless discomfort and restlessness.
Disconnected from her true self.
Charlotte may enjoy brief pleasures, but the real-life activities that require depth feel meaningless to her. Restlessness and constant fatigue are the natural results of this slavery.
This addiction fractures her mind and spirit, brings anxiety, reduces her interests, and makes her lose herself. Until she pays attention to her real self and hidden parts, the cycle continues.
Question 4. Can she break free?
Maybe, if she limits her cravings.
Yes, by facing herself consciously.
Complete freedom is unlikely, but if Charlotte learns to control her desires and reduce dependencies, she can find some peace. Without limiting these temptations, she remains trapped.
By becoming aware and confronting the hidden parts of her psyche, she can step out of the addiction cycle. This path involves self-knowledge, accepting one's weaknesses, and practicing conscious choices.
Question 5. Practical steps for Charlotte.
Moderation and self-control.
What is self-control? From Schopenhauer's view, humans are trapped by the endless desires of the blind will. Self-control means being aware of these desires and trying to limit them. Living simply and avoiding fleeting pleasures is a way to reduce suffering. Art and philosophy serve as tools that temporarily free us from the power of the will. In the end, self-control is a path to relative peace, not complete liberation.
Self-awareness and meaningful activities.
What is self-awareness? In Jung's thought, self-knowledge means moving toward individuation, or the realization of the self. A person must recognize and confront the unconscious aspects of the mind, especially the shadow. Understanding symbols, dreams, and archetypes is the main tool in this process. Self-knowledge is about creating balance between the conscious and unconscious parts of the psyche. Jung believed that only through this path can a person achieve psychological wholeness and discover the true meaning of life.
Charlotte should limit her screen time, practice self-discipline, and replace short thrills with real-life pleasures. This is the only way she can escape even a little from this slavery.
She can reconnect with life through reading, art, exercise, and real human interaction. Any activity that stimulates her mind and awareness can replace compulsive scrolling and dependence.
As the scoring shows, from a scientific standpoint, our two renowned figures received equal ratings from ChatGPT, but the other two AIs gave different results. In the section on therapeutic approaches, once again, it is Carl Jung who achieves more acceptable results and even better scores than in the previous stage, gaining the approval of all three AIs. This demonstrates the significant therapeutic value of Jung's functions. Finally, when looking at the overall average, it is Carl Jung who earns the more favorable score. In general, in debates between philosophers and psychologists, the advantage often lies with the more scientific approach, psychology, because in philosophy, personal tendencies and individual character often shape the way the issue is approached.